All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first pop-up interview for the Pop 10. I, of course, am your host, Dave Solo, and fresh off the heels of Heroes and Villains FanFest Atlanta, speaking to the Steiner brothers and, of course, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, we have an amazing guest for our very first pop-up interview, formerly a guest on Walker Nation Presents the Solo Sessions, and this guy is a WWE Hall of Famer. He is a former world heavyweight champion and a pop culture icon in and of himself, as well as a wellness icon. I can only be talking about one person, the master of the diamond cutter, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page. DDP, how are you?
Unstoppable, bro.
That is you, in a nutshell.
That is the word of 2018, unstoppable. It's a new word for this year. As a matter of fact, I'm writing a book that will be released SummerSlam weekend that's called Own Your Life, and really it's the art of being positively unstoppable.
You know, I can't think of a better word for you, and since the last time I had you on a podcast, you were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. What an amazing night, what an amazing speech. I got to know how that felt.
It was unbelievable. You know, it was like, when people ask me, like, what is your favorite moment in professional wrestling? And I've had a lot. You know, and it covers from 1988. You know, we're talking about 30 years, 29 years. It was that night. You know, it was the Hall of Fame induction. Having Eric Bischoff induct me, which I don't think you can really do a better induction speech than he did.
Right.
It was really amazing, and to know I was like first out of the gate, and I knew what I had to say. And it's funny, a little backstory on that. WWE, the writers, there's always guys who help you write stuff, but a lot of guys aren't used to writing, you know, full-on 20-minute, 30-minute, hour-long speeches. I am, you know, so I've been doing it for years, so I don't need anybody's help. You know, when it comes to that, because I know what I want to say, and they said, so how long is it? And I said, about 20 minutes. No, it's about 25. And he's like, oh, Dallas, you know, no one's supposed to go over 15. I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Right.
You know, so, and because I wasn't the main event, Kurt Angle was, I figured, all right, I'll go back and I'll pull some stuff. Long story short, after I done all that, they called me up and they said, "Hey D, I want to come in and hear the speech you originally wrote." I was like, "Okay." I came up there, and they heard it, and they were like, "Dude, don't change a thing."
Nice.
Like,
nice.
That is unbelievable. And you know, if you don't want to go too long, you know, you don't want to piss the man off on the controls, Mr. McMahon, on your best day ever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to go too long. Bottom line is, Boz, who was my writer, came up to me. He said, "Dude, just don't go over 30." So I knew I wasn't going to go over 30.
Right.
But you know, I also knew that I had a free handle, and you know, before I walked out there, and this is what owning your life, the book, is all about. Owning your life. You know, it really focuses on the story you tell yourself. You know, like that inner voice inside you, and you know that inner dialogue we all have with ourselves on a daily, constant basis. You know, and a lot of people, you know, pull themselves down with emotional gravity. A lot of people will worry about things, you know. And there's was a study, I don't think it was at Harvard, but it was one of those big universities that did a study on, you know, 70% of the stuff we worry about never happens.
Wow.
Like, you worry about this stuff, and it just never comes to fruition, you know. But you can also put that story about how great something's going to be, how amazing something's going to be. So before I walked out there to do that talk, you know, and I know I'm going to go about 25 minutes in front of 20-some thousand people and millions of people watching on the network.
Yeah.
And USA. They played me on USA too, the network. So I knew millions of people were going to watch it. You know, the story that was going on in my brain was, this is going to be the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I'm going to blow people away. I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to make them cry. I'm going to inspire them to believe that something in their life could be possible through mine.
Yeah.
And then I'd say it again. And then it was like the only inner dialogue that was running through my brain before I walked on stage.
Well, it's amazing, and to hear it from your own mouth is even more amazing. And look at everybody from Arthur to Jake to Scott Hall to myself, what you've done and how you've inspired. And again, this weekend I had an opportunity to interview the one and only Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and I asked him about you knowing that video you put out, such a beautiful video about motivation and the Forrest Gump quote of putting your past behind you. And I absolutely love that video. And so that experience with Rick just must have been super cool for you to kind of heal everybody at once.
Oh my God. You know, I knew, like, I pride myself on, like, this week's Motivational Monday came out yesterday on my DDP Yoga Now app. This is what I'm going to put out there for everyone to watch as well. But it talks about being thankful, and whenever I think of Thanksgiving, I always think of Randy Savage. And because Randy was the guy who really put me on that rocket that took me to the main event and kept me there for for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And, I was very grateful to him. And I expressed it to him personally. And, I always say without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. But because Nate and I, in our years when we were wrestling, we had, some conflict with each other. We call it heat, but it was never like face to face. It was more, talking, like I said stuff, he said stuff. It just wasn't how I really felt about Ric Flair. Like, I loved Ric Flair, and the guy, I loved being around him, but we just had this conflict, and I just wanted to try and fix it. And when he retired, with not that, and he said this in an interview I saw, like, he didn't have the greatest retirement in professional wrestling. He had the greatest retirement in sports, period.
Right.
I mean, when he retired, he was put up in a shrine.
Yeah.
It was a whole different level. Like, nobody got that. Not Dusty, not Superstar, not Harp. Nobody got that. But Rick did, and that was the day I said, I'm going to try and fix this with him. And I pulled him aside, and you saw the video, and I said, "Hey, Mitch, can we talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, Diamond." And I was like, "Hey, Rick, I know over the years you and I have had heat together." And he was like, "Hey, man," he goes, "Don't worry about that." I go, "I'm not worried about it, Rick. I want to fix it."
Right.
I know I've said some stuff, you said some stuff, and who cares, man? I don't know how we got off on the wrong foot, man. I said, but I'd love to start all over again. I put my hand out and said, "I'm Diamond Dallas Page."
Yeah.
And he just gave me a big hug and, just thanked me. And it was just great to have that. And that was the beginning of the healing part. And then when Dusty passed, we ended up in the same hotel together. Our families, me and his fiance Wendy and my wife Brenda, and we got totally blown away. We got the freaking driver right there in the hotel. We had a great day together. And I almost thanked him that night. But I thought about it. I know at some point I'm going to go in the Hall of Fame. I knew I was Hall of Fame worthy, so I knew I was going to go in at some point. And I figured I'm going to thank him then. And I know when I went through this list of people I thanked, he probably didn't think he was going to be hearing about me talking about him and how much it meant to me.
Right.
And it just, it took us to a different spot in our friendship. And then, of course, at the end of Mania, the night before, he's like, we're sitting at the bar together, and he, invited me to fly home on his Lear jet, me and my wife, and, the real limousine ride and Lear jet flying, kids stealing son of a gun, it's a shoot. It's not like it's a work. It's a shoot. And that's why he was so incredibly successful, because he did live the gimmick,
Yeah, and
so it was pretty amazing.
And I got to ask you if you had a chance to watch his 30 for 30 yet, the ESPN special.
Oh, Rick invited me to the premiere.
Oh, yeah, real? How was that?
It was amazing. Taker was there. Fit Finley was there. Michael P.S. Hayes was there. Dolph Ziggler showed up.
Wow.
It was really cool to be there and to be invited by Nate to come. You know, and what I loved about the 30 for 30 was it was real. Yeah. I mean, it had all the authenticity that the resurrection of Jake the Snake had.
Yeah.
You know, because Nate, he could have candy coated some of the stuff, but he didn't. You know, just like Jake, he wore his heart on his sleeve and didn't ask anybody to forgive him. It's like, hey, I made mistakes and I did some good things too, and here's what they are.
Yeah.
And he was accountable for his actions, and that's all you could ask for.
Yeah. I definitely, I don't have you forever. I wish I did, because I could talk to you for hours and hours. But one thing, this is the Pop 10, and one thing I want to talk about is your status as a pop culture icon. I remember my brother Scott dressed up as you for Halloween a bunch of years, would give me diamond cutters all over the house. So I grew up with it and absolutely, worshipped you. So how does it feel to be a pop culture icon?
I don't lay much credence on that. I mean, it was fun to live the dream at a different level. I just had a guy who works for me. It's not finished, but it's 95% finished. It's called Relentless. And it's a movie about the end of my wrestling career and what today is known as DDP yoga and how it happened. Now, to watch that, I mean, it's pretty. So you get to see, like, I've been filming all of this stuff with this entire DDP-wide journey. I've been filming it all for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like we are a 10-year overnight success. We've been very successful the last 6 years. But you see it all, and it all comes together, and like, people are going to watch that long after I'm dead, and somebody might go, wow, what he did there. Like, I could do this in what I'm trying to do in my life.
Right.
So, more than anything, the guy that, because Jim Ross called me the greatest overachiever ever. And in my speech, I quoted him saying that, and I said that the one thing you have to understand, to be an overachiever, you must first be an overbeliever. You've got to believe it. You've got to, like I said before I walked out to do my talk, in front of 22,000 people. It's like the talk that was going on in my brain was, this is going to be the greatest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying it and saying it and saying it. Like, there was no room to second guess myself, but I would not allow it.
Wow.
And the only way you can do that is by through concentration, breathing, and repetition, because repetition is the mother of learning.
Yeah. Wow. And you bring up a lot of good points. And, I've thought of you, I think last month I was on the stage at Walker Stalker Con. I know you're a Walking Dead fan as well. And I was talking to another really inspirational guy, Irony Singleton, who played T-Dog. I would love to have you two in a room together. And one thing he said made me think of you. He said, and I thought of your career. He said, don't have a plan B. Like, plan A has to work, and make plan A work. And look what you did with it, right? So just so inspirational, and I can't thank you enough for the inspiration you provide for me and for everybody, honestly.
Oh man, that's what I do. It's what I was born to do.
Right.
When I was a little kid, I grew up in a broken family. I grew up not being able to read. I had ADD and dyslexia. I was reading still at the third grade level, page of 30. Somehow to be able to still have faith in yourself and belief in yourself through all of that, what I've learned more than anything, it's got to put the work in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to believe it's a magic pill or it's a magic thought, and all of a sudden you're good. It's like, no, you got to work at it every day. It's very similar to what an alcoholic has to do if they're having trouble if they have issues with addiction. Well, they got to remind themselves every day that today I got this.
Yeah.
Today. You're not worry about tomorrow. Worry about today. You still plan your future for tomorrow and move on, because that's what gives you hope. setting new goals, setting yourself up to win as opposed to not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to take the excuses out of everything. Like, right now, we just released on my DDPyoga.com site, it's called DDPY Rebuild. And this will take every excuse you ever had and throw it away. And DDPY Rebuild is for those 55 plus with mobility, limited mobility issues. So the first 3 workouts start off in bed. By yourself, not you and some broad. By yourself. And you start to strengthen your body. And then the next spot is the chair. So hopefully you take it from the bed. Now you can get into a chair and start to work out in a chair. And then eventually it goes from there to you're using a chair to get yourself up and down, just to create mobility and get yourself moving. Because Neil Young said it best. Time, was it Rust? Rust never sleeps.
Yeah.
It's always coming, especially if you were an athlete, stuntman, stunt woman, someone who just wants to be active in their everyday life in sports. The wear and tear on your body, at some point, you'll pay for that.
Yeah.
So now how do you take care of that? So we literally, so many people would ask us, can my grandfather do this? Can my uncle, like that, every single age now. So, and that's what I try to eliminate the excuse.
Yeah.
Now tell me what you're going to do.
Yeah, and DDP yoga, again, I've had knee surgeries, I've had back surgery. For somebody like me, it's what changed my life 5 years ago, and no excuses. Like you said, anybody can do it. If people haven't watched the videos, go online, watch Arthur's video, watch all the other videos, and get involved. And one thing I know about you, Dallas, is that you're like me. It's always on to the bigger and better, right? So what's the next evolution of DDP yoga? Is there going to be more retreats, more events? Where are we going?
Well, every year I do a retreat. Matter of fact, it's in July. That's one reason my wife was just calling me. Because in July we do this amazing retreat. We try to go to a different place every year, but I'm going back to my original place where they have these beautiful casitas. It's 5-star resort. We work out every day, but you don't have to work out every day because as far as I'm concerned, it's your vacation. You do what you want to do. Like I always say in my workouts, make the DDPY your own.
Yeah.
And that means you work at your own level, at your own pace. So there are workouts every day, but there also is amazing, delicious, healthy, real food that's there on this retreat. And you can eat whatever you want, but I give people options of these amazing healthy dishes that taste great. There's cooking classes, and then of course just take your mama's yoga retreat because we got we have pool parties, and it's all inclusive. So the booze, the food, everything is all inclusive. So it's a great time for people to really bond. So every year we grow with that. Now with the whole DDPY rebuild for the 55 plus limited mobility, breaking into that. I'm also looking to work with some top athletes right now, and because this really goes from for people who are the best athletes in the world to people who are really beat up and can't do anything anymore, and how long to get that mobility back. So that's my focus there. My book, Own Your Life, is going to be out in the SummerSlam, and that's really going to help people get their mind straight. And then I've got a show that I've been doing as well. Have you heard the show that's on Sci-Fi Channel called Superstition?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I was on episode 4 a couple weeks back, and I have a big episode on episode 10, and that's pretty much me. And one of the lead guys, his name is Calvin, the character that he plays. I play Travis, and that whole episode is about me and my nephew, who it's all about the Mario Van Peebles. He is his family is morticians, but that's really like the front because they're like the gatekeepers for hell.
Wow.
What was really cool when I was filming it, the director, he really had some great things to say, and he told me if this gets picked up, that I was going to be a heavily recurring character
Amazing.
In the show, which is going to be super cool. And so, just trying to keep my hands in everything, and again, letting people believe. Like, one of my goals is that DDP Yoga is a household name by the time I'm 65, and I'm 61 now. And the other goal by the time I'm 65 is I am a full-blown working actor. In other words, not that that's all I'll do by any chance, but I want to be able to say, I can make a living. I can live off of the money of the acting. And the guy who made me believe that I could do that, and he did it through example, was Danny Trejo.
Oh,
who has been in a million things, but he got his first real leading role. What was it? Machete.
Mm-hmm.
That was his first big time leading role, and he did that at 68.
Wow.
Now at 72, he's everywhere.
Yeah, he is. Commercials.
And
everything.
again, commercials, Freaking Sons of Anarchy. I mean, he's doing everything, and he's still the sweetest. I mean, the reason why everybody loves working with him because he's the nicest guys on the planet.
Yeah.
And just today, I call him, he will call me back. He don't matter how big his star gets, he's still Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that's
awesome. That's the way I am. And
true.
Again, I just try to show people that if I could do this, with all the adversities I had going against me, guys started wrestling at 35. My career didn't take off until I was 40. What could you do? That's really what it comes down to.
Right. And you make everybody around you better. And you make everybody around you want to work with you. I've been doing a lot of work in videos with Universal Orlando Resort lately, and I want you on that big stage in the park and get everybody that's there doing some DDP yoga in that giant area on that stage. That's what I want.
Well, we can make that happen at some point for sure. It starts out with us talking about it, thinking about it, and then planning it, and then making it happen. We were at in Orlando, this year for Mania. The WWE put me together with Susan B. Combe, who's a breast cancer lady, right?
Yep.
And Manduka, which is a huge yoga mat company that have really cool apparel and all that stuff. And I actually knew the guy. I'm good friends with the guy who literally started the company.
Nice.
And I had a great affiliation with them. Then somebody else bought them. And then it sort of lost a lot of the affiliation. But now the new guy who owns that company is they're super, super, super rich. But the guy who is the main guy of the Manduka side, he's 6'5", 240, and a huge DDP fan. So next thing you know, I'm doing this co-venture with the WWE, Manduka, UFC, they're training, they're a part of it. It was Tap Out. It was Tap Out. It was Manduka, Tap Out, WWE, Susan B. Combs, and DDP Yoga. And they were expecting all these yogis to come, but I never developed DDP Yoga for yogis. I developed it for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga.
Right.
That's why the big push that you're going to hear DDPY, DDPY, DDPY. So people stop calling it yoga. Because really, it is, but it's not.
Right.
It's for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. So we probably had about 20 yogis showed up, but we had about 160 followers of DDPY there. So it was 180 people. They were blown away. And the energy in the room was insane.
Yeah. I can only imagine. And people, again, right now, we're going to post this today as we record it, 30% off all DVDs and apparel at ddpyoga.com with the Black Friday 17 code. Everybody needs to do this right now. Dallas, before I let you go, it is November. Thanksgiving is days away. I asked Mr. Flair and the Steiners is this weekend, and I would like to know from you, right now as we speak, what are you most thankful for?
Oh, God. Everything. Oh, my God. I mean, like, I've been so blessed. You know, I'm thankful for my mom. It looked like she was in a really bad spot, like Rick, probably about 9 months ago. And she kicked out, and I took her to dinner last night. She looks amazing. I put her up on Twitter with me. But I'm thankful that she's still around, and that my whole family, we're all together. And my brother and I, we haven't talked in about 6 years because he was mad at me over something that he wouldn't even give me the time to explain anything to him. Oh. So I figured eventually, because I don't hold that. I'm like, dude, if that's where your head's at, then that's okay. Don't worry about it. It'll work out eventually. We're actually talking tomorrow, which I'm sure is going to be cool.
That's awesome.
I don't hold anything. I mean, if someone's in that spot, he's the only person who's ever been mad at me like that.
Wow.
And it really had nothing to do with him. But, we'll talk it out. And, to me, anybody who holds that kind of angst, like for years, he wouldn't like come to family functions. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, let that go. So I am thankful for that, so we can move to the next spot. And, just in general, man, I've been so blessed to live this life that I'm thankful every day. I don't need to be Thanksgiving to feel that way.
Yeah. But, I'm glad to hear your mom's doing well. Just saw the picture. She looks fantastic. And, I'm thankful for you and for always taking the time to talk to me. I got to come down there. So if I come down there to the center, I want to shoot a video with you. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just hit me. You got my number, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I still want to pull you on the Walking Dead podcast at one point, too, and talk Walking Dead with you. But I know how precious your time is, and I can't thank you enough. So everybody keep your eyes open because Owning Your Life, the book, will be out right around SummerSlam time. So grab that. Go to ddpyoga.com. Download the app. Own Your Life, right? And get moving on that. And don't forget the Resurrection of Jake the Snake is still out there on the iTunes. Makes a great gift, as well as DDP Yoga, right?
Absolutely, my friend. Listen, have an awesome holiday.
You too, my friend. And let's not make it this long in between times that we talk again, right?
You got it. Hey, you know what I want you to do? If you could put any kind of link up into, we just did, and it shows you how good my crew is that works with me. President of my company, Steve Yu, he's super, super, I wouldn't say creative. I would say he's super intelligent, but he's super creative. We've been working so hard to get these DDPY rebuilt because it's not just putting them, doing workouts and editing them. Then you got to get them, you got to get them burned and into the warehouse, and get everything built, the packages and all this. We forgot, every year we do this big, this Black Friday special, and we have some fun video. Well, we didn't have time to shoot it. So he came up with something that is so, it's funny. How people were texting people and you put the wrong thing because you're talking and it does the autocorrect thing, or you're writing and it does the autocorrect. Well, that's what it's based on. And then it goes into me doing a FaceTime thing and then into little graphics at the end. But, text me after you see it. Tell me what you think about it. I'm sure it's out there right now.
Yeah, I can't wait. Everybody, we'll put a link up, too. We'll put it on our site as well. We'll tweet it out, and we can't wait to see it. And we can't wait to see what is next from the master of the diamond cutter, Mr. Diamond Dallas Page. Thank you again, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Hey, great talking to you, bro. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you next time right here on the Pop-Up Interview, folks.